Hi, friends. This is Miss Bennett. Today we're going to learn a little bit more about an animal that lives in the Everglades, and that is a manatee. Not only in the Everglades, but you can find manatees all over the state of Florida. So it says, follow gentle manatees through their marshy habitats, learn how they raise their young, and discover the threats to their environment. Who am I? I have whiskers, but I'm not a cat. I nibble on grass, but I'm not a cow. I have gray, wrinkled skin, but I'm not an elephant. Who am I? I'm a manatee. Manatees are mammals that live in the water. They are sometimes called sea cows. Why? Manatees are gentle and they move slowly like cows. They also graze on seagrass, just like cows eat grass. And we see a picture of the manatees there. It looks like they're in a spring. It says manatees often rest in groups. And then there's a sidebar. It says water words. Mammal. A mammal is an animal that has a backbone and is warm-blooded. It feeds its babies milk. And graze means to feed in an area covered with grasses. And up at the top, there's a question. It says, where do manatees keep their money? And the answer is in the riverbank. Funny. Manatees are big. They are usually about 10 feet long. That's as long as two kids' bikes lined up end to end. That is pretty long. Manatees are heavy too. Most adult manatees weigh about 1,000 pounds. That's the weight of about 21 second graders. Super swimmers. Manatees can move their large bodies gracefully through the water. They swim upside down and roll. They even do somersaults. Manatees don't like water that is too deep. They like to stay in shallow water in the ocean and rivers. There they find their food and warm water. Oh, so here we have another joke. Why are manatees so wrinkled? Because they do not use irons. Ha ha ha. Very funny. A manatee's body is built for living in the water. Oh, here we have a diagram of a manatee. So first let's look at the tail. Its tail is large, flat, and round at the end. It moves up and down to power the manatee through the water. They're flippers. They help steer the manatee. They also bring food to its mouth. The lips, they are big and strong. They wrap around plants and pull them into the manatee's mouth. Nostrils, manatees breathe air through these holes, but they close tightly underwater. Eyes, they are small, but manatees can see well, even in cloudy water. Munching on lunch. Manatees are herbivores. They eat plants for about 6 to 8 hours every day. Manatees have no front teeth because they don't need them. They don't eat meat. Manatees have only large black teeth called molars. These molars help grind their food. And we see a couple pictures there. The caption says, a manatee grazes on sea plants. And down at the bottom, you see water word. That's a vocabulary word. It says herbivore. That's an animal that eats only plants. 7 fun facts about manatees. 1, they lose all their teeth throughout their lives. New teeth replace them. Number 2, the elephant is a distant relative to the manatee. Number 3, fat in the mother's milk helps a young manatee grow quickly. Number 4, they do not have eyelashes. Number 5, bones in a manatee's flippers are similar to those in a human hand, and you see the bones there. Number 6, they do not use their mouth to breathe. They only use their nostrils. Number 7, they have no natural enemies. Humans are their biggest threat. Big babies. A manatee baby is called a calf. It's born underwater. A newborn calf is about the size of a 9-year-old kid. The mother pushes the calf to the surface to take its first breath. Within an hour, The calf can swim on its own. Like other mammal babies, a manatee drinks its mother's milk. Soon it learns how to find sea grasses to eat. The calf must stay with its mother for the first 2 years. The mother teaches her calf how to live on its own. And you see a caption that says, "A calf needs to stick with its mom." So you see the mom and the baby. And the joke is, what do manatees learn in school? Their ABCs, because they live in the sea. Funny jokes. On the move. Manatees do not stay in one place. They migrate. In the summer, manatees can be found in many states. In winter, most manatees return to Florida. The water is warmer there. So there's our vocabulary word at the bottom. It says migrate, to move from one area to another for food or a mate. And you see in the map all the pictures of the little manatees there. That's where they swim at different points in the year when they're migrating. Manatees at rest. Manatees need rest like you, but they don't sleep like you do. They rest for about 15 minutes at a time. Then they need to come to the surface to breathe. Manatees sometimes rest at the bottom of the sea or river. They can also float near the top of the water when resting. And the caption says, manatees don't usually travel in groups, but they often rest together in warm water. Keeping manatees safe. There are many dangers for manatees. They are often hit by boats because they are big and slow and swim to the surface. Manatees can be hard to see in the water. People also throw trash and fishing line in the water. Swallowing trash can hurt manatees. Fishing line can get tangled around manatees so they can't swim. And you see the caption there. It says, this manatee has scars from an injury from a boat propeller. You can see on his back there the cut lines. And the joke at the top says, how do manatees turn their pancakes? And the answer is, they use their flippers. Manatees are endangered. There are about 5,000 Florida manatees left, but the law protects them. There are also special areas for manatees called sanctuaries. In a sanctuary, people can't disturb manatees. They can live safely there and raise their young. And the vocabulary word at the bottom says endangered, and that means at risk of dying out. And a sanctuary is a safe place set aside for animals in nature. And you see the sanctuary roped off. It says the roped off area shows where people are not allowed to go. Stump your parents. Can your parents answer these questions about manatees? You might know more than they do. So question 1, where do manatees live? And we know the answer to that is in warm, shallow water. Number 2, a manatee baby is called a calf. Number 3, what do manatees like to eat? They like to eat plants. Number 4, a manatee's lips are for grabbing plants into its mouth. Manatees rest for about 15 minutes at a time. Number 6, a manatee uses its flippers to steer through the water. And number 7, to keep manatees safe, people should not drive their boats really fast. Good job, friends. And here we have some vocabulary words that were in the book. So the first one is endangered. That means at risk of dying out. The second one is graze. That means to feed in an area covered with plants. Second row, we have herbivore, an animal that eats only plants. Mammal, an animal that has a backbone and that is warm-blooded. It feeds its baby's milk. Migrate, to move from one area to another. And sanctuary, a safe place set aside for animals in nature. I hope you learned a lot about manatees and enjoyed our book. See you next time, friends.